On April 27th, 2023, the Canadian Parliament passed the bill for C11, which compels online streamers, Netflix, YouTube, Twitter, anything online, anyone that is using the interaction, that's viewing what we're doing right here, compels them to have a governance around the best interest of Canadians, their citizens, and so forth. It also brings into light the dangers around things like, for example, George Orwell's book that was released in June of 1949 called 1984, that it's essentially the inflection point where thought police are coming into the fray. Now, throughout the past 3 years of COVIDs and the global lockdowns and so on, thought police were there in a lot of active communities around the world where police were overextending their legalities of interaction with citizens to the point that they pushed way too far. Now, with this Bill C11 that Canada has just passed, they can actually filter online presences even more than things like the Twitter files have shown in the recent, 6 months. So if you don't know what Bill C11 is, I highly recommend you take a look at it. Even though you are not Canadian, I personally am an Australian. However, the notion by which these governments can do these things is quite alarming. And the fact that we're not aware of it, as we are all streaming and we are live and we are doing things on these digital platforms these days, it essentially is the way forward. It is the way of how we interact globally, locally, and even amongst our own families, kids and grandkids. So I highly recommend you take a look at it. Become knowledgeable, because ignorance, although it may feel like bliss, it will eventually take all our freedoms.